let's get started with our first news story. Alright, let's really get this show on the road. Daniel Cormier is making headlines with an intriguing idea. He believes that Ilia Topuria and Islam Makhachev could end up being for each other what Conor McGregor and Khabib Nurmagomedov were a few years ago. Career-defining rivals. Cormier spoke about this on the Pound for Pound podcast, laying out why he thinks both fighters truly need a heated, high-stakes rivalry if they want to reach the next level of superstardom. According to him, that's exactly what took McGregor and Khabib from excellent fighters to global icons. Cormier explained, "I was talking to someone today about this. I said, while I may not have the greatest relationship with Conor McGregor, partly because of Khabib and Conor's own tension, I still respect and appreciate him for being that guy for my brother Khabib. Because without Conor McGregor, Khabib doesn't go to the moon, right? You need that guy." He went on to say, "I think Islam and Ilia might be that for each other. Even if they don't like each other, they might need each other to reach that next level. I really appreciate Conor for helping Khabib achieve the life he has today." Before that McGregor fight, Khabib was great. Everyone who loved MMA respected him. But after the McGregor fight, he was a global superstar. There's just no denying it. Cormier didn't stop there. He dove deeper, talking about the cultural and even religious dimension that rivalry brought into MMA. He said, "Can I say something about that too? It even brought religion into it. I feel like Islam, the faith itself, was inspired by Khabib in a way. People wanted him to go take care of this so-called bad guy who was attacking everything they believed in. And if you know Khabib, you know he's truly committed to his religion. He went in there and did away with the guy who was talking trash about the Muslim community. Everything they held sacred." Cormier's point is that these personal, emotionally charged rivalries are what make the sport so compelling. It's not just about the techniques or the wins. It's the story, the drama, the stakes that go beyond rankings and belts. That's the kind of dynamic Cormier thinks Islam Makhachev and Ilia Topuria could recreate for this generation of fans. A rivalry that becomes legendary, one that defines careers, draws in global audiences, and pushes both men to new heights. Because in the end, the sport thrives on these intense, personal matchups. They're what make MMA such an electrifying, powerful global spectacle. They're what get people talking, and they're what keep us watching. Now moving on to another topic, let's talk about Arman Sarakan and what he's revealed about training with Khamzat Chimaev. According to the UFC lightweight contender, training with Chimaev is no easy task. It's about as tough as it gets. This isn't just regular sparring, it's a test of everything you have. Earlier this year, Arman and Chimaev even served as rival coaches on the new season of the Hype Fighting Championships reality show. That experience alone was intense, with both men trying to out-strategize each other, mentor their teams, and show who really has the edge. But it didn't stop there. The two actually faced off in a grappling match on the show, and while Chimaev absolutely dominated the action and controlled most of the exchanges, he ultimately couldn't submit Tsarukyan. That grappling match told everyone watching just how resilient Arman is, even against one of the most feared grapplers in the entire sport. And after that battle, something interesting happened. Instead of staying rivals, they actually developed mutual respect. They recognized each other's skills, toughness, and mentality. Over time, that respect grew into a genuine friendship. Now they even train together regularly. Imagine that, two absolute killers, pushing each other in the gym, making each other better every single day. In a recent interview with ESPN MMA, Arman opened up about what it's really like going rounds with Khamzat. When asked directly, "How is it training with Khamzat?" Arman didn't sugarcoat it at all. He said, "Khamzat's a tough guy. He doesn't care if you're lighter than him, 25 pounds lighter. He just goes hard with everybody, and it's good. It's good for me. I get a lot of experience out of it. I feel like if I can wrestle with him, I can wrestle with anybody." Think about that. Khamzat isn't giving anyone an easy day in the gym. It doesn't matter if you're smaller or less experienced. He treats every session like it's a real fight. That's the kind of intensity that forges champions. There's no room for comfort. There's no mercy. The interviewer wanted more detail, so he asked about the weight difference. Arman didn't hesitate. He confirmed that Chimaev is significantly bigger, explaining he's like 205, something like that. That's a huge difference when you're a lightweight. But for Arman, that challenge is what makes it worth it. Rolling with a guy that big, that strong, that skilled, it forces you to adapt, to get sharper, to toughen up in ways that normal training partners simply can't replicate. It's not glamorous, it's not easy, it's brutal, but that's exactly the kind of hard work that separates good fighters from great ones. It's those grinded out sessions, the ones where you're exhausted and battered but refuse to quit, that really build the mindset of a champion. For Arman Tsarukyan, those rounds with Khamzat Chimaev aren't just sparring, they're the ultimate test. And the ultimate preparation for anyone he'll ever face inside the octagon. Now let's talk about Dustin Poirier and some big news about his career. This is a huge moment for fans of the Diamond. Dustin Poirier has openly said he's getting on steroids after UFC 318, joking, or maybe half joking, about what's next for him now that his UFC career is coming to an end. It's classic Poirier humor, but there's an unmistakable sense of finality behind the words. Think about it. Poirier has spent most of his adult life on a strict diet. He's lived in the gym, always in shape, always cutting weight, always making sure he could hit that 155-pound limit. It's been a life of extreme discipline, filled with sacrifice, skipped meals, and endless hours on the treadmill. But now that he's retiring after his highly anticipated fight with Max Holloway, headlining UFC 318 later this month in New Orleans, Poirier can finally let go. He can unplug that treadmill for good, stop counting calories, and perhaps most importantly, exit the promotion's relentless drug testing pool. Speaking to ESPN MMA ahead of UFC 318, Poirier was in good spirits as he shared some of his retirement plans. He made it clear that he's looking forward to spending even more time in the gym, but for an entirely different goal. This time, he wants to get jacked. No more worrying about cutting weight or passing drug tests. Just lifting, eating, and getting as big as he wants. He told the interviewer with a smile, "This will be the last time I'm ever 155 pounds in my life. I can promise you that." The interviewer laughed and teased him back, asking, "Are you still gonna stay in shape, or are we just going straight to diabetes?" Poirier, never one to miss a beat, fired back with his signature dry humor. He said, "Listen, I'm getting on steroids. Once USADA stops knocking on my door and I lay the gloves down, I'm getting jacked and tan." The whole exchange drew laughter, but there was a grain of truth to what he was saying. He's done with weight cuts, done living that life. After years of pushing his body to its limits just to make weight, he's earned the right to do things on his own terms. But make no mistake, even as he jokes about retirement, don't think for a second that Poirier is mailing in his last performance. In fact, he's aiming for one more unforgettable night in the cage. He wants to go out with a bang. He told ESPN MMA he's targeting fight of the night, even fight of the year, honors against Holloway. When asked whether he'd rather get a quick finish or go through a full, grueling 25-minute war, Poirier's answer showed the fighter's heart that's made him a fan favorite for so long. He said, "I'm going to try my best to be in the moment on fight weekend, because this is the last time I'm ever going to feel these morning jitters of fight day walking into the arena. I'll never feel this again. So I want to put on a show. I want to go out with a bang. I want it to be fight of the night, fight of the year. I'm expecting stitches." That's classic Poirier. Win or lose, he's always leaving everything in the octagon, and that's exactly why fans love him. Now let's shift to Jack Della Maddalena and his thoughts on Islam Makhachev. There's been a lot of buzz swirling around this potential matchup, and for good reason. Both fighters are among the most dangerous in their divisions, and a clash between them would be a huge event in the MMA world. But ahead of what could be a truly massive fight, Jack Della Maddalena, or JDM as fans know him, isn't holding back on how he feels. He's made it very clear that he's not impressed with Islam's size. He's been blunt, almost dismissive, about the idea of Islam moving up in weight and being able to handle him. In JDM's eyes, when it comes right down to it, Islam is simply too little for him. JDM was speaking at an Eternal MMA event when he was asked about this potential matchup. His response was short, confident, and very telling about his mindset. He doesn't see Islam as some unstoppable threat. He sees size as the key factor in the fight if it ever happens. For JDM, that difference in mass and natural strength isn't just a small advantage, and it could be the deciding element that defines the entire fight. When the interviewer pressed him to talk a bit more about that potential showdown, JDM didn't hesitate for even a moment. He doubled down without blinking. He said, "Yeah, it's a dream. First title defense against pound for pound #1. I'm going to get him. He's too little. I'm going to get him." That's a bold statement from JDM, but it's exactly the kind of attitude that's made him a rising star in the sport. He's not afraid of big moments or big names. He doesn't tiptoe around questions or hedge his bets. He says what he thinks, even if it ruffles feathers. And that's what makes him such an intriguing fighter to watch. He's the kind of guy who genuinely believes he can beat anyone. It's not fake bravado or marketing hype. It's real confidence born from his training, his preparation, and his own belief in his power and skill set. For JDM, this potential matchup isn't just about another paycheck or a shiny belt. It's about proving he's better, stronger, that he truly belongs at the very top of the sport. Beating someone like Islam Makhachev, a fighter many consider to be one of the absolute best pound for pound in the world, would be the ultimate statement. It would silence any doubters and put his name firmly in the conversation as one of the most dangerous men in the division. But that's the fight game. It's not just about skill or technique. It's about mentality. It's about believing you're the baddest man in the cage before you even set foot in there. And for Jack Della Maddalena, there's no question in his mind, Islam Makhachev is too little, and he's ready to prove it to the entire world. Move on to another news. But while JDM feels extremely confident about having the size advantage if they ever share the octagon, Islam Makhachev is already well aware of the tough challenge that comes with moving up in weight. This isn't just talk for him. It's a real physical problem he's actively working to solve. In fact, Islam has been honest with everyone about the fact that he's struggling to put on the necessary mass ahead of his planned move to the welterweight division. This isn't some quick fix or simple diet change. It's a total transformation. In a recent interview with MMA Junkie, Islam broke it all down in his straightforward, no-nonsense style. He said, "I try to lift more. Slowly, I've gained maybe 2 kilograms right now. It's very hard. All my life, I've been cutting weight. Now, when I want to be big, my weight stays in the same position." That single quote really says it all. He's describing a problem that so many lifelong weight cutters know all too well. These guys spend years, sometimes their entire careers, conditioning their bodies to shed weight, to get smaller, to cut down to an exact number. They know every trick, every diet, every grueling sweat session to drop those pounds. But when it comes time to reverse that mindset, to gain weight, and not just any weight, but functional fight-ready muscle, it's an entirely different game. It takes time. It takes a completely different kind of discipline. It's about retraining your body to do something it's been conditioned to resist for years. And even then, it's not just about eating more. That's the biggest misconception. You can't just stuff yourself with junk food and expect to be a better fighter. It's about gaining the right kind of mass, the kind of lean muscle that makes you stronger without slowing you down, the kind that lets you hit harder while still maintaining your speed, your cardio, your explosiveness. Islam knows this. He's one of the most disciplined fighters in the sport. He understands that if he wants to move up and not just survive at welterweight but dominate there, he'll need every ounce of real, usable strength and size that he can pack on. It's not easy, it's slow. He's admitted that himself. Gaining just 2 kilograms might sound minor to casual fans, but for a fighter operating at this level, every pound matters. Every pound can mean the difference between getting taken down or sprawling successfully, between landing a knockout punch or getting countered. But despite the difficulty, one thing is absolutely clear. Islam Makhachev is taking it seriously. He's not cutting corners. He's not looking for shortcuts. He's putting in the work day after day, trying to make sure he's ready when the time comes to step into the cage at 170 pounds. The real question that everyone is asking now is, will it be enough? Because if Jack Della Maddalena is right, if size truly is the deciding factor, then this whole weight gain journey could be the key difference between victory and defeat when they finally meet. Finally, let's talk about some gym drama involving Team Khabib and Ilia Topuria. Reporter Usha Taika sat down for a conversation with rising fighter Rizvan, who currently trains at American Top Team, one of the most respected MMA gyms in the US. Earlier this year, the reigning lightweight champ Ilia Topuria also spent a few weeks training at ATT, a gym he's visited plenty of times in his career, just before vacating his featherweight title. Naturally, the conversation with Rizvan drifted toward that. During the interview, Rizvan revealed that he'd witnessed some wild things during his time at the gym. The reporter was instantly curious and started pressing Rizvan to spill the details. At first, Rizvan was hesitant. He tried not to say too much, but after a little more pushing, he finally opened up. He revealed that one of his close friends, Shavkal Cherchev, a Dagestani fighter and known training partner of Islam Makhachev, is also based at ATT. Rizvan explained that Shavkal was specifically gunning for Ilia Topuria at the gym. He came in ready to cause some drama. He said, "I don't want to mention the fighter's name, but a UFC champion came to our gym for a few practices. He's still the champ. Actually, this was a couple of months ago. Shavkal, being a lightweight, was looking for other lightweights to spar with, but this other guy was the featherweight champ. He wasn't in camp at the time, so he was pretty big. He trained with us for a few weeks and was in incredible shape. His power and technique were unreal. I remember Shavkal had his eye on him and was determined to spar with him. When they finally did, it was intense. They went at it hard, and man, it was wild to watch. It lasted a couple of minutes. It was a serious brawl." Given that Ilia Topuria is the only featherweight champ known to have trained at ATT, it basically confirms who that story was about. And let's not forget, given the intense back and forth between Islam Makhachev and Ilia Topuria throughout the year, it's no surprise at all that Islam's close friend Shavkal would specifically target Ilia during sparring sessions at the gym. These are the kinds of rivalries and training room stories that give MMA its unique edge. Fights aren't just built in the octagon. They're forged in the gym, in tough sparring rounds, in quiet grudges that simmer until they explode under the bright lights. These personal rivalries, gym wars, and heated exchanges fuel the sport. They make the anticipation for real fights even bigger. Fans love it, fighters need it, and the sport as a whole thrives on it. That's what keeps everyone talking, that's what keeps us watching, and that's what makes mixed martial arts one of the most electric sports on the planet.